It's none of my business, I know, but I couldn't help but notice. Looks like psychosis. Life on relationship blow. What's going on over there? It's none of my business, I know, but I couldn't help but notice. Looks like psychosis. We live on relationship road.
The flats on Relationship Road are fairly new. There has not been much time for anyone to get to know each other. Kasia has briefly met the girl who lives opposite. She said her name was Molly. They have so far only exchanged a few hellos when they have seen each other. But Kasia thinks that she seems like a nice person, and she has noticed that Molly has a wonderful warm smile. Kasia and her husband Pavel are renting the flat. They moved in at the end of January, so really it was only just before the pandemic hit. Kasia understands that it is unhealthy for her to allow herself to get sucked into negative thoughts and feelings, but there are days when it feels hard to rise above it. She misses her friends who live the other side of the country, and she feels afraid for the health of herself and her husband. She's also concerned about her family back in Poland, although things seem to be okay where they live. Her anxiety is always worse when she has listened to the news or engaged with Facebook or Twitter. Kasia works in a laboratory which these days has been asked to manage the COVID-19 tests. Their lab is fully protected and they have sufficient protective equipment, but it doesn't stop her from feeling worried. Some years ago, Kasia experienced panic attacks. They just came out of the blue and it was very difficult for her to work effectively during that time. Pavel was very understanding, but Kasia knew that she needed professional help, and so she went to see a well-being mind coach. She had found it really helpful, and so now once again, rather than allow this anxiety to get worse, she arranges an online session. She does wonder whether an online counsellor would be better instead, so that she can deal with the roots of the problem. But right now she feels more comfortable speaking to someone she has already connected with. She starts to feel better already, knowing that she can talk openly and honestly to someone without judgment or criticism. Everything seems calm at number 1, but Sally is not calm inside. She has just had a text message from one of her clients called Martin. She first met Martin about 6 months ago when she redesigned the interior of his house. He was charming, good-looking and very proper. However, over a number of weeks she got to know him a lot better. At times during the project when just the two of them were together, Martin became a lot less proper and a lot more flirtatious. They had lunch one day towards the end of the design project, and before parting he had kissed her. It came out of the blue. It was just one kiss and she was a little tipsy from the wine and from the attention. It had been a long time since Colin had looked at her in that way and she had been flattered. She knows that Colin isn't the perfect husband in so many ways and that she loves him, but she couldn't help the way that her stomach leapt into her heart during that brief kiss. She had met Martin only once after that lunch, and there were lots of other people around them. Thankfully he was charming and quite proper again. Now, suddenly out of the blue, he has texted her. Sally checks to see where Colin is. He is at his computer working. It is a warm day, and so she picks up her phone and goes into the garden. She doesn't know what to think or what to do. She feels nervous and anxious and just a little bit excited. Maybe she should just delete the text without reading it. I'm being stupid, she thinks to herself. It's probably something totally legitimate to do with the design. Or maybe he wants to pass my number on to a new client. It's most likely going to be something to do with my work as an interior designer. I am being foolish, she chides herself again. Am I hoping it's more than that? She questions herself before quickly closing down that way of thinking. She doesn't want to cheat on Colin, but somehow she doesn't seem able to stop the feeling of excitement that has arisen inside her. With slightly trembling hands, she opens the text. Meanwhile, at number 3, life is getting a little bit more stressful. For some time now, Peter has noticed that from time to time Alice repeats herself. He has put this down to stress or absent-mindedness. But just lately this has seemed to get a lot worse. Peter thinks that she is more irritable these days and she gets confused more often. Today is a typical example. Peter, I can't understand this TV program. Why are they making them so complicated these days? I don't think it's really any different to usual, says Peter. Perhaps you're a bit tired today. You didn't sleep too well last night. Didn't I? Said Alice, somewhat absent-minded. She goes quiet for a bit. Then about 10 minutes later, she says to Peter, This producer needs sacking. I simply can't understand what's going on. They just keep jumping about. It's rubbish. Peter doesn't say anything this time. Later that day, Alice comments again on how difficult it is to follow her favourite TV soap, and so she gets up and goes out into the garden where she appears to be roaming around aimlessly. Peter doesn't know how to respond. He is really worried about Alice at the moment. Yesterday she forgot to put the oven on when she was cooking the dinner, and she is finding it increasingly difficult to engage with their jigsaw puzzle. He reminds himself that she is not keen on jigsaws anyway. Maybe he is seeing things that aren't really there. After all, neither of them are getting any younger. Still, the changes in their routine seem to have really affected Alice. Peter thinks he might telephone the doctor, but he's worried about taking up the doctor's time for something that he might be imagining. He could speak to their daughter Kathleen, but he doesn't want to worry her either. Peter doesn't know what to do other than watch, wait and hope that things improve. He is probably worrying over nothing, he tells himself. If you have something you would like to share or a concern you would like addressed, please send it in and we will try and incorporate it into the future storylines. Tune in again for the next episode of Relationship Road.
Welcome to Relationship Road, where people live just like me and you, alone or together in all kinds of weather, and most of them are scared of this flu. What's going on over there? It's none of my business, I know, but I couldn't help but notice it looks like psychosis. The pressure's starting to show. What kind of neighbor am I? Am I doing my bit for the road? My parents are elderly, my children disorderly, the whole world is suddenly slow. What's going on over there? It's none of my business, I know, but I couldn't help but notice it looks like psychosis. The pressure's starting to show. And if you need me, let me know, and I will be the first to show. What's going on over there? It's none of my business, I know, but I couldn't help but notice it looks like psychosis. The pressure's starting to show. The future, well, nobody knows, but we'll do our best till then, I suppose. I've got my friends and my family, no place that I'd rather be. I'm learning to go with the flow. What's going on over there? It's none of my business, I know, but I couldn't help but notice it looks like psychosis. The pressure's starting to show. And if you need me, let me know, and I will be the first my business, I know, but I couldn't help but notice. Looks like psychosis. Life on relationship road. What's going on over there? It's none of my business, I know, but I couldn't help but notice. Looks like psychosis. We live on relationship road.